Okay, are we on now, Mr. Mig? It looks like we might be.
Yeah.
I am Barbara Joseph. I'm currently the chair of the auditors.
There's Suzanne.
Hey,
There's Suzanne. Hi,
guys,
Suzanne.
I'm mocked for always being early, and you guys both beat me. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you
Same to
too.
you.
Yeah. I think we're supposed to have some individual was going to be on, but I don't see any particular designation. But in any event, John Mig is the person handling all the video stuff. Yeah. So we did a little bit of talking already, just to kind of sort out what was going on. And of course, we're missing Keith, unfortunately for us, but fortunately for him, he's on a lovely vacation somewhere where there's sun and shore and whatever, far away. So we decided we would go forward. And essentially, I was happy to contact you, and I'm so glad you could make the meeting so you could potentially fill us in a little bit. I looked and I saw that the 2022 audit wasn't available yet, but it had been done by Mail, however we say that name.
Right, Melee, I don't know.
Melee, okay. And can you tell us anything about that, or
We have
what
not
you know
had
about?
we have not had the formal report, but I'll follow up and send you all, including Keith, who's on the Caribbean, wherever he is. We'll keep moving him around the world. So that, when we have it, you guys will have it as well.
Okay. Okay. And in terms of a decision, I think last time we spoke, there was some discussion about whether or not we would continue with that entity as the group that did our audits. Is that something that has been decided one way or the other at this point, if you know?
My memory is that this year there'll have to be a new RFP, because I believe the length of the time frame has been exhausted. So it could be that they're selected again. I don't know that they would be. My own inclination is that you should shake things up once in a while, right? You have somebody look at it and then you bring in new eyes to see what they might have missed, or, they're all using the same essential standards, but that'll be a process. We did, I think you all know, we did hire a new township manager, and he starts next week. So
right.
Hopefully that will help, fill in some of the gaps in terms of, as much as Chief was doing two jobs, is, better to have a full set of hands than.
Right. Yeah, I read about him. I saw David Kratzer, I think is his name. Yeah, he starts January 9th. So coming up.
He was at the board meeting last night. So I think we're very lucky.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's probably been tough without a township manager for a while now, right? I mean, yeah.
It's, everyone keeps talking about the Great Resignation and there's all these jobs and stuff. It's, I think it's still a very tough market, right, out there. And certainly people who have the expertise that you need to be a township manager, and then, you're kind of going into public service, like a different type of public service. They're not elected, but they serve at the will of the board. And that can, challenging. So I'm really pleased. We had a number of qualified candidates in the end. I think we got somebody who's going to be really good. So fingers crossed.
Good. Well, that's wonderful. I'm really glad to hear that. We needed somebody, so it's good that he is coming on. Let's see. And we were told we're supposed to have our offices, decide on our offices again, and this time.
Hey, Keith isn't here. You know what that means.
And Keith is not here.
He gets voted.
Yeah, I think there might be a vote to make him chair. Although right now, I think we'd probably stay with our current ones, but frankly, I'm strongly considering maybe stepping down and letting somebody else come in and take over the 6 years or years, a number of years in this position. I'm at the end of my kind of the time frame here. So I'm not sure yet whether I would run again, but perhaps we can keep our current positions the way they are. Me being currently president, or do you want, or should I step down maybe at this point? I don't know. I think I'd like to wait.
I think I should nominate
What'd you say, Jim?
I think I should nominate you for the position of president, and then you can accept it, and then you can nominate me for secretary.
I think
How's that sound?
I think she's chair, not president.
Oh, chair, right. Promotion. So,
yeah.
In terms of reorganization of our office, I nominate Barbara Joseph for another year as chairperson. And
I second my own nomination.
you accept, I guess. I'm in favor of it, obviously.
I accept it.
Yes. And then
and all in favor, the two of us?
Carries unanimously.
Carried unanimously, exactly. And I nominate you, Mr. Jim Driscoll, for secretary.
I accept the nomination.
Okay. And all in favor? Aye.
All right.
And unanimously.
And I guess I will nominate Keith Dos Santos for his current position as vice chair.
I second that nomination.
In absentia.
And all in favor? I'm
We're
sorry.
in favor of it.
All in favor? Aye. That motion is carried as well. Okay.
All right.
So that's good. I'm trying to think, are there any other issues that you wanted to address, Jim, that we hadn't talked about?
I don't have anything myself. I note for the record that an alleged person of the public who's going to join the meeting has not done so at this time, up to this time.
So
It
you
doesn't-
had reason to believe that somebody wanted to call in, or that there was a public comment or something? Like,
Mr. Meggs said that there was potentially someone who would join our meeting, but he has not done so yet.
okay.
Who was trying to join the meeting and he was having some difficulty. Mr.
John,
Meg, are you
John, I saw
there?
you unmuted.
Yeah, there is currently no public comment.
Okay,
Okay.
Oh, okay.
thank you.
Okay. All right.
Sure.
Well, we thought we had somebody there, but apparently, I think he had difficulty getting in, supposedly. I don't know. But in any event, I'm trying to think, is there anything else that we want to raise, Jim, or talk about?
I don't have anything. Suzanne, do you have anything for us?
No, I don't. I mean, I last night, we had our reorg meeting. Fred Weiss will be the chair for the next year. And in his, every time the chair takes over, they try to talk a little bit about what they hope to accomplish this year. So one of the things we'll be finalizing is the trust. So a portion of the sewer proceeds will be put into trust that will spin off investments. I'm not good at these words, right? The proceeds that come from the trust, a certain percentage, a small percentage, will be allowed to be used by future boards to augment the finances of the township. So that should be finalized hopefully this month. There was some discussion about, still the long-term projects, like what does MAC need to be or look like, et cetera. What about Snipes? What about Patterson Farm? How do we put those issues, to rest? There was mention about the fact that both Marsville and Falls have enacted an earned income tax. An earned income tax is really something everybody should read up on, because it's not what you might think. But the bottom line is, anybody who lives in Lower Makefield but works in an entity, be it Newtown, Marsville, Falls, that has an earned income tax, they're already paying an earned income tax. It's just going to that other township. So pretty much over 85% of the municipalities in Bucks County have enacted an earned income tax in an attempt to write their budget. So if I could quote the chair, I might get it wrong. He thinks we should start to have the conversation, right? Not make a decision, but have the conversation. If I'm making this up now, so don't quote me, but let's pretend that 40% of our residents are already paying it, but it's going to support other townships. It may be something that would help create a more equitable tax position in the township.
Right.
Lots of hard work that has to be done there, and hopefully can be done, whatever the outcome, without people jumping to conclusions or, thinking that there's a determined outcome, but really having a deep conversation about what does the future of Lower Makefield look like, so that we can continue to invest in our roads and invest in, the amenities that people want to have, but do it in a fiscally responsible way.
Yeah. That's an interesting issue, given that, approximately 40% of the people are already paying it.
Again, I just use that number as an
Right,
example.
right.
I'm not sure how high or low it is,
Yeah.
but it's one of the, like, I always thought, I didn't realize that somebody who lived in Lower Makefield but works in Newtown would be being taxed in that manner.
Yeah.
And so I do think there's an equity conversation that at least should be had, so people understand, and people, we can make a decision as a community as to what makes sense for the long run. So, there's never a shortage of big issues that have to be tackled.
So I'm sure, I want to make sure I understand. So this tax is how much again? What's the you're taxed what on earned income?
Each township gets to pick. I think it's the max is 1%, but you could pick less. So Falls just put in a 1% earned income tax. So if you make money in Falls, regardless of where you live, 1% of your income is going to Falls to help provide for resident services, roads, infrastructure, parks, think of it as you will. So
how long have these, I'm sorry, 1%, I get, yeah.
Falls just put theirs in. Falls just put theirs
okay.
in December. Morrisville put theirs in, I think earlier in the year. Middletown, I believe, has one. I mean, they're all over the county.
Wow. I wasn't aware of that at all. But then again, most people I know that have worked in Philadelphia or New York or other places not immediately around here. And I don't know what percentage of our population in Lower Makefield actually work in the surrounding communities where this is the case. But
well, the whole idea of paying tax in a locale where you don't work, it was upended by the Supreme Court of the United States a number of years ago when they pretty much said, you can't tax somebody for services they're not receiving. I'm not a con law scholar, so I'm really snipping it down there. But like when I worked in New York since I've lived here, so since the early 90s, there came a point in time where I didn't have to pay that tax anymore because the Supreme Court says it doesn't work that way. So, just to have the conversation so that everyone understands and everyone can help, be informed about what makes sense for our township.
Yeah, that could be a little thorny issue there, I think, for a lot of people. But, this has been going on now for at least how many months? Like a few months, at least, if not a year or more. Or,
yeah, well, I mean, so specifically the Fred, Chairman Weiss talked about, do we understand what our fiscal picture looks like and how are we going to compensate? Because, we're always basically running at a bit of a deficit. And then Dan brought up the issue of an earned income tax, which may be an appropriate resolution, but it's a discussion, right? It's a discussion.
Yeah, sure. Wow. That's just, I had no idea about that. That's very interesting. Well, I guess you'll have to figure that all out and make some decisions at some point, maybe.
I think the first, heavy lift is the conversation, getting information. How many of our residents, is there any way for us to understand that? How many people are impacted already? So that's, looking at that kind of work plan and figuring out how to collect the information to have a meaningful discussion.
Yeah, and some sort of survey or something, because how would we know otherwise, I
Yeah,
mean,
surveys can be rough,
you'd have
but
to be.
Yeah, no, that's something
Yeah.
that have to be looked at.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And how bad a shape are we in in Lower Makefield? I mean, does it seem like everyone is like, oh, we need to get more money into our coffers here, or are we doing poorly?
I think we're doing, we're definitely doing a lot better. It didn't come easily, right? Selling the sewer system was not an easy decision. We used that money to pay down a lot of debt, including the golf course. But it's not even a whole year, right? The system was sold, I think, in March. So really, to fully appreciate how that's going to help transform what was this situation, right? When I became the supervisor and I was appointed in 2018, that December, January time period, they didn't have enough to make payroll, right? That's the operating deficit. So that ship has been turned around. There's still work to do, right? Because everything is getting more expensive. There's a lot of delayed.
Of course it is.
So
there's a lot of that. Yeah.
Paved more roads this year than in a long time, but there's still a lot of roads to pave. So.
Right. And I think a lot of people aren't that aware of the township's financial position. They just assume everything's hunky-dory and no one's coming after them saying, you've got to do this and yet, but we might have to at some point, it sounds like. And it does probably seem rather unfair to some of those people that they're working in Morrisville and they have to pay, but others don't because they work in Philadelphia or New York or wherever. I don't know. It's something that we have to deal with, clearly. Yeah. So,
So with that said, I will, get back to you on the things that we talked about. I want to say to both you and Jim, I would have made Phil the chair, Keith the chair, just for him not being here. That's the way I roll, but you're kinder than I.
We'll tell Keith you said that.
Well, that's what I wanted to do, but Jim, being the nice guy that he is, and I thought, well, okay.
I mean, Keith's bringing me back some rum from the Caribbean.
He's whatever he gets.
I thought he was a Tahiti. Where did we go?
My opinion.
All right, everyone. Have a happy New Year.
Anyway.
Best wishes to all of you and your families.
Happy New Year to you all, too.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. And we'll see you, Jim, probably soon. Hope to see you too, Suzanne, sometime soon. But happy, good health, etc. All right. Thanks a lot for making it, Suzanne, to the meeting. I'm sure it wasn't easy, probably.
No,
okay.
No, thank you.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Ta-ta. Bye-bye.